Hello, friends. It has been a long time since I've recorded a YouTube video, and I honestly miss it. If you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Reagan. I replaced my YouTube videos with the podcast, and given the fact that I do, in fact, work a full-time job and enjoy my own free time and personal life as well, fitting in both a YouTube video and a podcast every week is way more of a challenge than just picking one. And the goal was always to switch to a podcast. And I don't have video on the podcast, obviously. Maybe one day I'll get there, but we're just breaking it in. We're seeing how it is. But the circumstances of my life, the season that I'm in, the season that I'm entering, warrants a video, a proper sit-down video. And it's funny to think about recording these versus doing my podcast because I feel like the YouTube videos, I was just so much more naturally, less pressure. It's more of just whoever's watching this wants to be watching this for whatever reason that it applies to them. Whereas the podcast, I feel like I have to make it so formal and structured and perfect. And sometimes it flows well and sometimes I will get super in my own head. So it's just nice to be back to these. But today's episode, I just wanted to have a talk, have a chat, because so much change has happened in my life over this past year. So much transformation. And I feel like I've been progressing this whole year towards the edge of a cliff. And now I feel like I am standing on this cliff's edge, looking out to the horizon, being like, fuck, because I'm essentially being asked to jump. That's how it feels. That's truly how it feels, entering a new version of myself, a new level of life and self-expression. And it's really fucking terrifying. It's really terrifying. I mean, we're always transforming, we're always moving forwards. Just especially this year for me has been really transformative. A lot of internal, energetic kind of shifts rather than physical, big life shifts. I mean, you see I'm still recording this in my makeshift little podcast room, which I actually did make quite cozy. This is just a horrible angle of it. I'll show you. She's nice. She does the job. That's a lamp that I randomly got off of Amazon that I didn't order on the Lionsgate portal in 2024. So, coincidence? I think not. But anywho, this video comes at this point because part of my fear of finally jumping, of really committing and not looking back, not to say this doesn't happen every day, but is the fact that I have always felt like I had a really big purpose and impact and mission. And that's reflected in my numerology, my life path number, whatever. Everything's aligned when it comes to the metaphysical characteristics and where to look in your chart and whatever. That kind of just describes how I feel about the impact that I've always felt that I was meant to have before I even knew anything about numerology, life path numbers, human design. I've always felt this. I've always had this internal knowing. And for anyone who has a similar experience, it's really kind of fucking terrifying. It's kind of terrifying because right now it feels like my whole life has led up to this point, which it has. And I mean, it has for everyone. And everyone also has a very important purpose on this earth, whether or not you feel like, oh my gosh, I've been destined for this major, massive impact, or you're just existing. I promise you, your impact is just as important as anyone else's. I made a video on this a couple months back, I think in August, if you want to listen to why you truly do matter. Everyone, even if you think that you just blend in and you're not important, I promise you are, because the flow-on effect that all of us have is immeasurable. It is insane. So just a reminder and a caveat. What am I trying to say? Whatever, you know what I'm trying to say. But just another point there. Moving forwards with what I was saying, having a bigger purpose or always feeling like I was meant for something more really feels like it is coming to the precipice of the point where I have to be okay, now we choose that path. This is where we're initiated into the fullest expression of self. And it's terrifying for me because a massive part of who I am, my mission, and what I'm being called towards is to bring balance between topics that seem super metaphysical, maybe are hard to digest, or seem kind of out there, or kind of just like waved off by a lot of people, bridging those topics, that world, with the physical, human, 3D, ego kind of perspective. Like bridging the intuition and the logic, the spiritual and the science. Because even though I have definitely taken time to learn more about things like astrology, or dare to look into like Reiki or energy healing or whatever, manifestation, like all of these things that make logical people go, oh, I'm just going to brush that off because that is automatically a tick in your head that that person's crazy, and that's just all bullshit. What's unfortunate is that a lot of these topics that are metaphysical, esoteric, whatever, are very deeply rooted in logic, in science, and in something that can truly help you a lot. But I don't think there's there's not enough people out there who are making these topics digestible for the average logical person. And I truly do believe that I have an ability, like a natural skill set, to make these esoteric, like more spiritual, woo-woo sounding topics digestible for the average logical person who might see these topics, hear these things, and just immediately mark it off as crazy. I also know, as someone who is naturally skeptical to systems of control and power, that there are a lot of systems at play across our world and in our society that aim to keep us easily controlled and disconnected from our power. There are people who benefit from you being miserable, not knowing what to do with your life, but like feeling like you have to stay stuck in a path that you hate, and being completely disconnected from your own internal sense of knowing, your own intuition. People benefit from that, because when you are reliant on external systems, first and foremost, to like figure out how you want to live your life or determine the rules by which you must live, you are so much easier to control. Think of someone who is entirely self-sufficient, and I'm not saying self-sufficient as in like they only serve themselves, they are only looking out for their best interest, they don't care about other people, and they're making very ego-based decisions. That is not what I mean by self-sufficient. Someone who is truly aligned, self-sufficient, is someone who is deeply connected to their own internal sense of knowing and has a very powerful filter of what they deem as like their own truth. And they know what they are willing to tolerate, they know the life that they want to live, they have their own boundaries, and they have a clear goal for where they want to go in life. And again, what they're willing to tolerate and accept. And this actually allows you to create a life of happiness and fulfillment, because you're not reliant on anyone else to tell you like what's the right way to be living, what you should be doing. Like, you are focused on living mostly in alignment to be your happiest version of yourself, like living your best life. Not to sound cheesy, but seriously, when you internally source that confidence, that sense of self-empowerment in that direction, you are so hard to control. And that is something that terrifies the fuck out of all the systems that want to keep us easily controlled. And I don't think that it's a coincidence that topics such as intuition or manifestation or anything in the realm of woo-woo, I don't think it's a coincidence that those things are marked off as woo-woo, that we have this collective understanding of like, oh, anyone who believes in that stuff is just crazy. Anyone who leans into like astrology is just weird, and it doesn't actually mean anything for like a normal person. Again, I am a mechanical engineer, I had an astrophysics minor. I've always been very logically thinking. Like, logic, structure has always been my go-to baseline. I'm not someone who's super like flowy, I just believe everything, alignment, like whatever. I'm not necessarily that kind of person. And this is what bothers me, and this is honestly a big part of why I haven't wanted to talk about this more, because I hate the idea of being perceived as this like crazy, flowy, out there, woo-woo, like ridiculous person that doesn't actually deserve any kind of validation, or like their words don't have meaning because they're just so far out there. I hate that perception, because the beliefs that I carry, I have come to through a very logical standpoint, a very logical sense. And I really do feel like I can help people, I can help change the world, I can help bridge this gap by explaining it in a way that's digestible. But that requires me to be seen and visible, actively talking about these things. And it's scary. It's scary. I don't really care as much about random people online as I do the people closest to me in my life. And I feel like I'm at this weird in between where it's like, I don't have to choose, but I do have to choose. Like, this is where I've been called. This is where I have always known I am meant to go. This is aligning to the impact I want to have on a worldwide scale. And this is just the very beginning. So am I really going to say, like, oh, do I really want to do that? Like, I'm kind of fine standing here. I'm kind of fine just chilling here, and completely ignore my greater calling? Not to sound dramatic, but that's what it is. Like, do I ignore the pull and nudges towards this calling for the sake of not wanting to seem crazy to the people who love me? When I know so deeply in my soul that these things are not crazy. I'm not fucking crazy. Like, I know this, but it's just fear. It's just fear of being perceived poorly, being perceived like I'm not actually worthy of being considered a legitimate source of valid, logical, sensible information. Like, oh, it just drives me insane. It drives me insane. And I feel like the more I talk about it, the more I honestly might be... I just almost knocked down my whole phone. Sorry if my hair is brushing it. But the more I talk about it, the more I feel like I might actually be surprised by how people resonate. Because it's like, all of us are gifted. Everyone has their own unique set of gifts. And part of mine, like the biggest one for me is my voice, and sharing it, and sharing these perspectives, and like teaching, guiding, sharing my experiences, and hopefully helping other people progress further into a state of happiness and alignment than they would without the words that I'm sharing with the world. Have I done a perfect job? No, probably not. Like, the podcast is not fucking up there with like Chris Williamson, and like, it's, you know what I mean? Like, my podcast isn't getting 1 million views. My podcast is not going wild. It's not going crazy. But to start out like this, to take steps towards my purpose and expansion, it just requires like still doing the thing. Even though sometimes I actually get so frustrated with myself, I get so in my head, I'm not in this flow state like I am usually with these videos, and I'm just like, I feel this pressure to be performative and to like put on a show and put on a perfect podcast and whatever. But that's not how my voice is meant to flow. Like, that's not how I'm supposed to be. And everyone as well has different ways of working, different ways of using their energy that work best for them. I feel like that's pretty objective. But we still compare ourselves to, like, at least if you're like me and you want to be a high achiever, you have high ambitions, you compare yourself to like the structures that these super rich people are talking about, or like the Alex Hormozy of like, you have to work all the time. If you can't be consistent, then you're just like not cut out for it, and blah, 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 blah. There's a whirlwind of just freaking information being thrown in every single direction towards us. And it's very overwhelming, especially as someone who's trying to create online or create a foundation or just share their voice and their expression. It can be really hard. And this is where the internal discernment comes into play, and your own intuition, because it is a skill and something that takes a long time to get used to, never mind master, to be able to hear your own internal voice louder than everyone else's. We are biological beings. We are born to be accepted in communities like that. Our survival is like tied to our acceptance in our primal brains. So when we do things that stray from the norm, like me wanting to talk about things like human design, astrology, energy healing, like the more woo-woo, whatever, even though it's not fucking woo-woo, but me wanting to not wanting to talk about that comes from not wanting to be like shamed and exiled for it, or have people from high school just see me and think like, oh, well, she's fucking crazy now, goodbye. Like, oh my god, she's a woo-woo witch now. It's scary. It's scary to be seen in a different light, especially when you're entering an area of conversation that is very much like marked off already. Like, people already have a lot of assumptions about it, but we can't change these assumptions. I can't change these assumptions other people have if I don't talk about them and express it in a way that can be digested by those exact people who write it off. I also don't want to become this, like, I don't know, like, religious zealot, as in, like, you have to convert to believe that, like, astrology is real. Like, it's not even, that's not even what I want to do. I more so, you know, the higher, I think it's the Higher Self podcast by Sahara Rose. Her podcast has existed for a long time now, but her mission is to make, like, the woo-woo topics digestible as well. Like, to an extent, not the exact same in the way that I'm talking about it, but there is a market, there is value, there is purpose in taking these things that seem so, like, woo, out there, and saying it in a way that people actually care about, understand, in a way that can benefit them to live happier lives in more alignment faster than they would without knowing this information. And I kind of said this already, but anytime, guys, anytime that we are trying to be convinced, or someone, an external source or system is trying to convince us that something is crazy or dangerous, when you take it through your own internal lens and you're like, it's not actually crazy or dangerous to, like, look into astrology or, like, read cards or things like that. Anytime that a system is telling you that something is dangerous, when you know, you can sense, like, it's not actually dangerous, it's because that system is afraid of the control that they lose from you being able to have your own sense of empowerment, looking more into these things and internally sourcing, or having, like, a source of confirmation of, I don't know how to say this, but, like, anything that is outside of the system that they don't approve of, usually you'll find in a lot of different areas, like, not just what I'm talking about, but just, like, in life in general, systems will say anything that doesn't fit their narrative is dangerous, is evil, is, like, an identity of something that you need to avoid. They attach it to identity. This is literally, like, I don't want to say it, but if you know me closely, and I have ever asked you to look up a very specific YouTube video talking about kind of, like, manipulation tactics for general populations with psychology, like, you'll know what I'm talking about. This is shit that has been repeated. Rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat over, like, all existence of humanity. To say that anything that doesn't fit the mainstream is, like, evil, bad, like, the worst thing in the entire world. Because we're naturally emotional beings, and we get attached to the identities that we associate with things, like, that seem out there or seem woo. Because, like I said, we're biological. We don't want to be rejected for them. Isn't it funny? Isn't it funny that a lot of those topics are not actually dangerous? They're not actually evil. They just provide you with a source of guidance and discernment, or connection to yourself more than anything else, than what a higher system can. Isn't that a little convenient? Like, isn't that a little crazy? As I said, I'm a pretty skeptical person. I have never been someone who just blindly trusts anything, pretty much. Like, anything. Especially not people who run systems that claim to be, like, looking out for our best interests. Yeah, you, like, not for me. Not for me. So, my natural skepticism has led me to think this way, and to see the world this way and understand it. Not in a cynical way, but just in, like, it's just how it is. It's how I see it. It's happening right in front of us. It's how I see it. And where I tie this back is the fact that, like, all of the woo-woo, all of the crazy, all of the whatever, the goal that I'm going to have in this near future, especially starting next year, and, like, now moving into next year, is to make people realize, like, guess what? It's not actually all that crazy or woo-woo, and it can actually help serve you a lot and bring you back to a deeper sense of your own internal empowerment to live more in alignment and be less easily controlled by the systems who want you to be lost, confused, scared, fear-based, and feel like you just can't do anything about your life, and that's just how it is. So, I don't know if that covers the message that I'm trying to get across. I think it kind of does. You can tell I haven't made a video in a while because I will get these rashes from, like, public speaking, which is funny because I'm literally just talking to a rectangle right now. Like, I could fully end this video, not post it, and no one would fucking know. but I get such bad views, like, it's so bad. I get such bad, like, rashes and stuff. So if I ever find myself on a stage years down the road, maybe not even years, I'll probably have to get, like, makeup or something to not have this. I'm literally going to turn into a red sponge. So anyways, don't mind me playing with this. TBT to when I use these microphones, they sucked. Anyways, I won't ramble for too long, but I do hope that everyone who subscribes to this channel, I hope you guys have been doing really well. I'm still happy to be, we're at like 105 subscribers right now, which is crazy because like a lot of that was built up when I was making these videos, when I was just talking to camera, and I miss it. I really do. So honestly, I think it's going to be a bigger priority for me to be talking like this more regularly and get back to more of a rhythm of that, even with the podcast, because connecting like this to my voice and how I share and being authentic feels the most aligned. This feels the most like Reagan. Like, I am not censoring myself. I'm not recording a fucking intro 7,000 fucking times thinking they already don't care. Oh my God, stop talking. Like, just get to the point. No one's listening. No one fucking cares. Don't we love a good critical internal voice? We do not. But good to know. Good to take note of. And on a personal note, I am really fucking excited, you guys, because there are some truly wild things that have happened to me in my life. Meeting my boyfriend on fucking Tinder after going to the same school for 4 years, having overlapping friend groups, living 4 minutes away from each other, and then matching on a fucking dating app that neither of us are like the kind of people to go on 2 weeks before graduating. That's one of them. That's one of them. Like, he's literally my soulmate. Insane. The second is the job that I have being like, I can't even put it into words. It is literally like a better fit than I could have ever imagined for me. And if you followed me way back when, if you watch my old YouTube videos, my first one being Post-Grad Despair, you will see me in the height of this like in between jobs period, questioning my whole life, like, as I call it, Post-Grad Despair, where I'm like, what the fuck am I doing with my life? I don't want to be in this career field anymore. I'm switching jobs. I thought I found this job. It seems so perfect. They're taking so long to get back to me, like, blah, 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 blah. The job that I thought was perfect was not actually the one for me, because the job that I have now, I could not have written it better for myself. I couldn't have even asked for how perfect it worked out for me. So that's the second one. And number 3 of crazy fucking things to work out for me just happened this week. Something I have wanted for so long, been hesitant to commit to, but like finally decided like I'm fucking doing it. Literally fell into my fucking lap. It fell into my fucking lap. And I'm not gonna detail exactly what it is yet, because it's probably gonna be a video in 2026. Oh, but just know that I won't be recording in this room for much longer. So crazy. So crazy. I can't wait to tell you guys about it. But anyways, I guess that's the sitch for my whole where I'm at right now. A lot of internal transformation this year is about to turn into more of the physical transformation catching up, and everything else just in my life, in how I show up. And this is the first step to me being like, yep, okay, I've looked into astrology, I've looked into human design, like, energy healing is real, manifestation is real, and it's actually very much rooted in science and energy and quantum physics, because this is all real shit. And being connected to your higher self or a greater source of power or whatever, and your soul, like, I don't know. I got a lot that I can get into. I literally want to get a whiteboard to teach about this. I don't know why I'm being called to get one, but I truly, like, I need my own whiteboard to be drawing this shit out and posting videos like this and teaching. So, but the Instagram, I'll probably be more active on there, especially moving into next year. If you don't follow me on there, you should. It's Organic Reagan, just normal organic, and then my name, Reagan. So I'd love to connect on there. And yeah, if you guys want to ask about anything in the comments or just chat or have a question, let me know. I will always respond. And I think that's it for today. So yeah, I'm so happy to be back, guys. Back on YouTube, even though I've still been in this podcast. And if you guys have listened to any episodes, shout out. I hope you've enjoyed them. The podcast, I'm going to try to keep improving. Like, we're getting there. We're getting there, like I said. Starting out. But anyways, I am going to let y'all go. Go be your most organic selves, and I will see you in the next one.